Hello, hello. Hello, dreamers. There we go. Hold on, where's chat? Oh, got to turn on chat. There we go. Hi, hello. Hello, hello, dreamers. Welcome to our very first ASMR live reading. So in this stream, I'm going to try read some stuff for you. So I believe sometime this week, like early this week, I asked you dreamers in my community posts some suggestions on what to read. And they're all really wonderful suggestions. I actually went out and bought some of the books. However, after doing much research, I realized that a lot of these books are copyrighted. And unfortunately, even though they are amazing, I read some of them. For example, I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It's really good. However, I can't read it online. Otherwise, the publishers could technically strike me for it. Yeah. Oh, don't mind me. Currently, my eyes are closed because I'm looking down. Because the chat is down over here. Drink water? Okay, I will drink water. Oh, thanks for the sub, Watermelon. Oh, Icha, hello. Hello. Long time no see. Salam alaikum, buds. How are you doing? Hi, Yusra. It's always nice to see you. Okay, so right before this live stream, I think I did a poll on my community post asking which of the books you all would like me to read, and majority of you chose the Grimm fairy tales. And if you're not aware, these are the original fairy tales that a lot of times Disney like to make. So Rapunzel is among one of them. The Frog Princess is also one of them. So it's quite interesting how the original one is so different from the Disney one. And I've actually never ever read this book before. And this is probably my very first time reading books live. And I'm quite inexperienced, but I am very, very excited for the challenge. There will probably be words that I'm not familiar with, and I do have to apologize in advance. I will probably mispronounce them, and I may even like take a pause to look up what they mean. Yeah. Well, I've never really read much books to begin with, so there's that. By the way, is the rain sounds too loud? If it's too loud, I can tone it down. It's just a little ambience to set the mood, really. You're watching Cinderella right now. Nice. DB, I wanted to say I made one of my dream wishes come true, and I want to tell you. Oh, really? Congratulations. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Tommy. Really, really, I'm so happy. I'm glad you have one of your dreams come true. Now on to the next dream. Are you supposed to be asleep right now, Esther? It's 7 a.m., right? So shouldn't you be up? Listening to you reading while I make dream catchers is a good mix. Oh, hell yeah. That's gonna be very relaxing. Okay. So, The good thing about the Grimm fairy tales is that these stories are relatively short. So they are a compilation of short stories, right? So I will show you. This is the entire book. It's available online on Gutenberg.org. It's basically a website which compiles public domain books, and I'll share it. And maybe if any of the titles in Gutenberg is to your liking, do comment. Let me know which ones you would like me to read next. So, for example, this one, it's called The Golden Bird, and it's quite long. So it will take some time for me to finish this particular story. And then Hans and Luck, there are short ones, there are longer ones, but they're all very fantastic. But yeah, do be warned, this is Grimm's fairy tales, and they are very famous for having very dark themes in their fairy tales, right? So there would be a bit of blood, maybe, a bit of parts where, you don't remember that as a kid. But yeah, either way, it's going to be fun. You're not late, Tara. I'm just doing a little introduction. Bye, Isabel. Right. So, while I'm reading, unfortunately, I would not be able to react to chat. So I hope you all will just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the story. Feel free to do whatever you want in the chat, but please adhere to the rules, and please follow our mods. Taddy is our mod in the chat right now, and she's responsible for keeping the chat safe and, in order. So please listen to Taddy. And in the meantime, while I read, you can just all interact with each other. Maybe lie down, catch some sleep. And this is the whole point of this stream. It's a stream where I read and hopefully could help you relax. And it's for those of you who may be having it hard to sleep sometimes. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to start my narrator voice. Right. Ready or not, here I come. Grimm's Fairy Tales. The Brothers Grimm Fairy Tales. First fairy tale, The Golden Bird. A certain king had a beautiful garden, and in the garden stood a tree which bore golden apples. These apples were always counted, and about the time when they began to grow ripe, it was found that every night one of them was gone. The king became very angry at this, and ordered the gardener to keep watch all night under the tree. The gardener set his eldest son to watch, but about 12 o'clock he fell asleep, and in the morning another of the apples was missing. Then the second son was ordered to watch, and at midnight he too fell asleep, and in the morning another apple was gone. Then the third son offered to keep watch, but the gardener at first would not let him, for fear some harm should come to him. However, at last he consented, and the young man laid himself under the tree to watch. As the clock struck 12, he heard a rustling noise in the air, and a bird came flying that was of pure gold. And as it was napping at one of the apples with its beak, the gardener's son jumped up and shot an arrow at it. But the arrow did the bird no harm. Only it dropped a golden feather from its tail, and then flew away. The golden feather was brought to the king in the morning, and all the council was called together. Everyone agreed that it was worth more than all the wealth of the kingdom. But the king said, "One feather is of no use to me. I must have the whole bird." Then the gardener's eldest son set out and thought to find the golden bird very easily. And when he had gone but a little way, he came to a wood, and by the side of the wood he saw a fox sitting. So he took his bow and made ready to shoot at it. Then the fox said, "Do not shoot me, for I will give you good counsel. I know what your business is, and that you want to find the golden bird. You will reach a village in the evening, and when you get there, you will see two inns opposite to each other, one of which is very pleasant and beautiful to look at. Go not in there, but rest for the night in the other. Though it may appear to you to be very poor and mean." But the son thought to himself, "What can such a beast as this know about this matter?" So he shot his arrow at the fox, but he missed it, and it set up its tail above its back and ran into the wood. Then he went his way, and in the evening came to the village where the two inns were, and in one of these were people singing and dancing and feasting, but the other looked very dirty and poor. "I should be very silly," said he, "if I went to that shabby house and left this charming place." So he went into the smart house and ate and drank at his ease, and forgot the bird and his country too. Time passed on, and as the eldest son did not come back, and no tidings were heard of him, the second son set out, and the same thing happened to him. He met the fox, who gave him the good advice, but when he came to the two inns, his eldest brother was standing at the window where the merrymaking was, and called to him to come in. And he could not withstand the temptation, and forgot the golden bird and his country in the same manner. Time passed on again, and the youngest son too wished to set out into the wide world to seek for the golden bird. But his father would not listen to it for a long while, for he was very fond of his son, and was afraid that some ill luck might happen to him also, and prevent his coming back. However, at last it was agreed he should go, for he would not rest at home. And as he came to the wood, he met the fox, and heard the same good counsel. But he was thankful to the fox, and did not attempt his life, as his brothers had done. So the fox said, "Sit upon my tail, and you will travel faster." So he sat down, and the fox began to run. And away they went over stock and stone so quick that their hair whistled in the wind. When they came to the village, the son followed the fox's counsel, and without looking about him, went to the shabby inn and rested there all night at his ease. In the morning came the fox again, and met him as he was, beginning his journey, and said, "Go straight forward, till you come to a castle, before which lie a whole troop of soldiers, fast asleep and snoring. Take no notice of them, but go into the castle and pass on and on till you come to a room where the golden bird sits in a wooden cage. Close by it stands a beautiful golden cage, but do not try to take the bird out of the shabby cage and put it into the handsome one. otherwise you will repent it." Then the fox stretched out his tail again, and the young man sat himself down, and away they went over stock and stone till their hair whistled in the wind. Before the castle gate all was as the fox had said. So the son went in and found the chamber where the golden bird hung in a wooden cage, and below stood the golden cage, and the 3 golden apples that had been lost were lying close by it. Then thought he to himself, "It will be a very droll thing to bring away such a fine bird in this shabby cage." So he opened the door and took hold of it and put it into the golden cage. But the bird set up such a loud scream that all the soldiers awoke, and they took him prisoner and carried him before the king. The next morning the court sat to judge him, and when all was heard, it sentenced him to die, unless he should bring the king the golden horse, which could run as swiftly as the wind. And if he did this, he was to have the golden bird given him for his own. So he set out once more on his journey, sighing and in great despair, when on a sudden his friend the fox met him and said, "You see now what has happened on account of your not listening to my counsel. I will still, however, tell you how to find the golden horse, if you will do as I bid you. You must go straight on till you come to the castle where the horse stands in his stall. By his side will lie the groom, fast asleep and snoring. Take away the horse quietly, but be sure to put the old leathern saddle upon him, and not the golden one that is close by it." Then the son sat down on the fox's tail, and away they went over stock and stone till their hair whistled in the wind. All went right, and the groom lay snoring with his hand upon the golden saddle. But when the son looked at the horse, he thought it a great pity to put the leathern saddle upon it. "I will give him the good one," said he. "I am sure he deserves it." As he took up the golden saddle, the groom awoke and cried out so loud that all the guards ran in and took him prisoner, and in the morning he was again brought before the court to be judged, and was sentenced to die. But it was agreed that if he could bring thither the beautiful princess, he should live, and have the bird and the horse give him for his own. Then he went his way very sorrowful. But the old fox came and said, why did not you listen me? If you had, you would have carried away both the bird and the horse. Yet will I once more give you counsel. Go straight on, and in the evening you will arrive at a castle. At 12 o'clock at night, the princess goes to the bathing house. Go up to her and give her a kiss, and she will let you lead her away. But take care you do not suffer her to go, and take leave of her father and mother. Then the fox stretched out his tail, and so away they went over stock and stone, till their hair whistled again. As they came to the castle, all was as the fox had said, and at 12 o'clock the young men met the princess going to the bath and gave her the kiss. And she agreed to run away with him, but begged with many tears that he would let her take leave of her father. At first he refused, but she wept still more and more, and fell at his feet, till at last he consented. But the moment she came to her father's house, the guards awoke, and he was taken prisoner again. Then he was brought before the king, and the king said, "You shall never have my daughter unless in 8 days you dig away the hill that stops the view from my window." Now this hill was so big that the whole world could not take it away. And when he had worked for 7 days and had done very little, the fox came and said, "Lie down and go to sleep. I will work for you." And in the morning he awoke, and the hill was gone. So he went merrily to the king, and told him that now that it was removed, he must give him the princess. Then the king was obliged to keep his word, and away went the young man and the princess. And the fox came and said to him, "We will have all three, the princess, the horse, and the bird." "Ah," said the young man, "that would be a great thing, but how can you contrive it?" "If you will only listen," said the fox, "it can be done. When you come to the king, and he asks for the beautiful princess, you must say, 'Here she is.' Then he will be very joyful, and you will mount the golden horse that they are to give you, and put out your hand to take leave of them. But shake hands with the princess last. Then lift her quickly onto the horse behind you. Clap your spurs to his side, and gallop away as fast as you can." All went right. Then the fox said, "When you come to the castle where the bird is, I will stay with the princess at the door, and you will ride in and speak to the king. And when he sees that it is the right horse, he will bring out the bird. But you must sit still, and say that you want to look at it, to see whether it is the true golden bird. And when you get it into your hand, ride away." This too happened as the fox said. They carried off the bird, the princess mounted again, and they rode on to a great wood. Then the fox came and said, "Pray kill me and cut off my head and my feet." But the young man refused to do it. So the fox said, "I will at any rate give you counsel. Beware of 2 things. Ransom no one from the gallows, and sit down by the side of no river." Then away he went. Well, thought the young man, it is no hard matter to keep that advice. He rode on with the princess, till at last he came to the village where he had left his 2 brothers. And there he heard a great noise, an uproar. And when he asked what was the matter, the people said, 2 men are going to be hanged. As he came nearer, he saw that the 2 men were his brothers, who had turned robbers. So he said, "Cannot they in any way be saved?" But the people said, "No, unless he would bestow all his money upon the rascals and buy their liberty." Then he did not stay to think about the matter, but paid what was asked. And his brothers were given up, and went on with him towards their home. And as they come to the wood where the fox first met him, it was so cool and pleasant that the 2 brothers said, "Let us sit down by the side of the river, and rest a while to eat and drink." So he said, "Yes," and forgot the fox's counsel, and sat down on the side of the river. And while he suspected nothing, they came behind, and threw him down the bank, and took the princess, the horse, and the bird, and went home to the king, their master, and said, "All this have we won by our labor." Then there was a great rejoicing made, but the horse would not eat, the bird would not sing, and the princess wept. The youngest son fell to the bottom of the river's bed. Luckily, it was nearly dry, but his bones were almost broken, and the bank was so steep that he could find no way to get out. Then the old fox came once more and scolded him for not following his advice. Otherwise no evil would have befallen him. Yet, said he, I cannot leave you here. So lay hold of my tail and hold fast. Then he pulled him out of the river, and said to him, as he got up upon the bank, Your brothers have set watch to kill you, if they find you in the kingdom. So he dressed himself as a poor man, and came secretly to the king's court, and was scarcely within the doors when the horse began to eat, and the birds to sing, and the princess left off weeping. Then he went to the king, and told him all his brothers' roguery, and they were seized and punished. And he had the princess given to him again, and after the king's death he was heir to his kingdom. A long while after, he went to walk one day in the wood, and the old fox met him, and besought him with tears in his eyes to kill him, and cut off his head and feet. And at last he did so, and in a moment the fox was changed into a man, and turned out to be the brother of the princess, who had been lost a great many, many years. Yeah, that was a pretty happy ending, I guess. Yeah. That's interesting. Very interesting. So I guess the moral of the story, listen to instruction, you know? If someone gives you advice, please listen to them. Yeah, and be careful of gold and lavishes in the world. I suppose so. Yeah, imagine being a fox and the only way you can turn back is to be cut on the head and feet. It's very specific too. Yeah, so how was that? Did you dreamers like it? Oh, you like that star? That's good to hear. Yeah, so I think since y'all like this, I'll continue reading it. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then I'll read the next story. Yeah. So the brother of the princess was cursed to become a fox. That's why he knows all these things about the horse, the golden bird, and I believe he was desperate to be turned back into a man. And the conditions for him to be turned back was he has to be beheaded and cut on the feet, hands and feet, right, as a fox, and then he was turned back into a man after. Oh, good luck with your assignment, Tara. Yeah. Right. Let me hydrate. Hydrating time, dreamers. Go grab your water. Right, so I didn't catch what people said, but is the rain sound like okay? Like, is it too loud or is it just perfect volume? Yeah, because personally I really like rain sounds. Yeah, it really sets the mood. Oh, perfect, nice. Oh, take your time, Tommy. Take your time. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm going to continue with the next story. And let me drink some more. Right. The next story is called Hans in Luck. Some men are born to good luck. All they do, or try to do, comes right. All that falls to them is so much gain. All their geese are swans. All their cards are trumps. Toss them which way you will, they will always, like poor puss, alight upon their legs, and only move on so much the faster. The world may very likely not always think of them as they think of themselves. But what care they for the world? What can it know about the matter? One of these lucky beings was neighbor Hans. 7 long years he had worked hard for his master. At last he said, "Master, my time is up. I must go home and see my poor mother once more. So pray pay me my wages and let me go." And the master said, "You have been a faithful and good servant, Hans, so your pay shall be handsome." Then he gave him a lump of silver as big as his head. Hans took out his pocket handkerchief, put the piece of silver into it, threw it over his shoulder, and jogged off on his road homewards. As he went lazily on, dragging one foot after another, a man came in sight, trotting gaily along on a capital horse. "Ah," said Hans aloud, "what a fine thing it is to ride on horseback! There he sits as easy and happy as as if he was at home, in the chair by his fireside. He trips against no stones, saves shoe leather, and gets on he hardly knows now." Hans did not speak so softly, but the horseman heard it all, and said, "Well, friend, why do you go on foot then?" "Ah," said he, "I have this load to carry. To be sure it is silver, but it is so heavy that I can't hold up my head. And you must know it hurts my shoulders sadly." "What do you say of making an exchange?" said the horseman. "I will give you my horse, and you shall give me the silver, which will save you a great deal of trouble in carrying such a heavy load about with you." "With all my heart," said Hans, "but as you are so kind to me, I must tell you one thing. You will have a weary task to draw that silver about with you." However, the horseman got off, took the silver, helped Hans up, gave him the bridle into one hand and the whip into the other, and said, "When you want to go very fast, smack your lips loudly together and cry, 'Jip!'" Hans was delighted as he sat on the horse, drew himself up, squared his elbows, turned out his toes, cracked his whip, and rode merrily off. 1 minute whistling a merry tune, and another singing, "No care and no sorrow, a fig for the morrow, we'll laugh and be merry, sing neigh down dairy." After a time he thought he should like to go a little faster, so he smacked his lips and cried, "Jip!" Away went the horse full gallop, and before Hans knew what he was about, he was thrown off and lay on his back by the roadside. His horse would have ran off if a shepherd who was coming by, driving a cow, had not stopped it. Hans soon came to himself and got upon his legs again, sadly vexed, and said to the shepherd, This riding is no joke. When a man has the luck to get upon a beast like this that stumbles and flings him off, as if it would break his neck. However, I'm off now once for all. I like your cow, now a great deal better than the smart beast that played me this trick, and has spoiled my best coat, you see, in this puddle. Which, by the by, smells not very like a nosegay. One can walk along at one's leisure behind that cow, keep good company, and have milk, butter, and cheese every day into the bargain. What would I give to have such a prize? Well, said the shepherd, if you are so fond of her, I will change my cow for your horse. I like to do good to my neighbors, even though I lose by it myself. Done, said Hans merrily. What a noble heart that good man has, thought he. Then the shepherd jumped upon the horse, wished Hans and the cow good morning, and away he rode. Hans brushed his coat, wiped his face and hands, rested a while, and then drove off his cow quietly, and thought his bargain a very lucky one. If I have only a piece of bread, and I certainly shall always be able to get that, I can, whenever I like, eat my butter and cheese with it. And when I am thirsty, I can milk my cow and drink the milk. And what can I wish for more? When he came to an inn, he halted, ate up all his bread, and gave away his last penny for a glass of beer. When he had rested himself, he set off again, driving his cow towards his mother's village. But the heat grew greater as soon as noon came on, till at last, as he found himself on a wide heath that would take him more than an hour to cross, he began to be so hot and parched that his tongue clave to the roof of his mouth. I can find a cure for this, thought he. Now I will milk my cow and quench my thirst. So he tied her to the stump of a tree and held his leathern cap to milk into. But not a drop was to be had. Who would have thought that this cow, which was to bring him milk and butter and cheese, was all that time utterly dry? Hans had not thought of looking to that. While he was trying his luck in milking, and managing the matter very clumsily, the uneasy beast began to think him very troublesome, and at last gave him such a kick on the head as knocked him down. And there he lay a long while senseless. Luckily, a butcher soon came by, driving a pig in a wheelbarrow. "What is the matter with you, my man?" said the butcher, as he helped him up. Hans told him what had happened, how he was dry and wanted to milk his cow, but found the cow was dry too. Then the butcher gave him a flask of ale, saying, "There, drink and refresh yourself. Your cow will give you no milk. Don't you see, she is an old beast, good for nothing but the slaughterhouse." "Alas, alas," said Hans, "who would have thought it? What a shame to take my horse and give me only a dry cow. If I kill her, what will she be good for? I hate cow beef. It is not tender enough for me. If it were a pig now, like that fat gentleman you are driving along at his ease, one could do something with it. It would at any rate make sausages." "Well," said the butcher, "I don't like to say no when one is asked to do a kind, neighborly thing. To please you, I will change and give you my fine fat pig for the cow. Heaven reward you for your kindness and self-denial," said Hans, as he gave the butcher the cow, and taking the pig off the wheelbarrow, drove it away, holding it by the string that was tied to its leg. So on he jogged, and all seemed now to go right with him. He had met with some misfortunes, to be sure, but he was now well repaid for all. How could it be otherwise with such a traveling companion as he had at last got? The next man he met was a countryman carrying a fine white goose. The countryman stopped to ask what was o'clock. This led to further chat, and Hans told him all his luck, how he had so many good bargains, and how all the world went gay and smiling with him. The countryman then began to tell his tale, and said he was going to take the goose to a christening. "Feel," said he, "how heavy it is, and yet it is only 8 weeks old. Whoever roasts and eats it will find plenty of fat upon it. It has lived so well." "You're right," said Hans, as he weighed it in his hands. "But if you talk of fat, my pig is no trifle." Meantime the countryman began to look grave, and shook his head. "Hark ye," said he, "my worthy friend, you seem a good sort of fellow, so I can't help doing you a kind turn. Your pig may get you into a scrape. In the village I just came from, the squire has a pig stolen out of his sty. I was dreadfully afraid when I saw you that you had got the squire's pig. If you have, and they catch you, it will be a bad job for you. The least they will do will be to throw you into the horse pond. Can you swim?" Poor Hans was sadly frightened. "Good man," cried he, "pray get me out of this scrape. I know nothing of where the pig was either bred or born, but he may have been the squire's for aught I can tell. You know this country better than I do. Take my pig and give me the goose. I ought to have something into the bargain," said the countryman. "Give a fat goose for a pig, indeed! 'Tis not everyone would do so much for you as that. However, I will not be hard upon you, as you are in trouble." Then he took the string in his hand and drove off the pig by a side path, while Hans went on the way homewards free from care. "After all," thought he, "that chap is pretty well taken in. I don't care whose pig it is, but wherever it came from, it has been a very good friend to me. I have much the best of the bargain. First, there will be a capital roast. Then the fat will find me in goose grease for 6 months. And then there are all the beautiful white feathers. I will put them into my pillow, and then I am sure I shall sleep soundly without rocking. How happy my mother will be! Talk of a pig, indeed! Give me a fine fat goose." As he came to the next village, he saw a scissor grinder with his wheel, working and singing. "O'er hill and o'er dale, so happy I roam. Work light and live well, all the world is my home. Then who's so blithe, so merry as I?" Hans stood looking on for a while, and at last said, "You must be well off, Master Grinder. You seem so happy at your work." "Yes," said the other, "mine is a golden trade. A good grinder never puts his hand into his pocket without finding money in it. But where did you get that beautiful goose?" "I did not buy it. I gave a pig for it." "And where did you get the pig?" "I gave a cow for it." "And the cow?" "I gave a horse for it." "And the horse?" "I gave a lump of silver as big as my head for it." "And the silver?" "Oh, I worked hard for that 7 long years." "You have thrived well in the world hitherto," said the grinder. "Now if you could find money in your pocket, whenever you put your hand in it, your fortune would be made." "Very true. But how is that to be managed?" "How? Why, You must turn grinder like myself, said the other. You only want a grindstone, the rest will come of itself. Here is one that is but a little worse for wear. I would not ask for more than the value of your goose for it. Will you buy? How can you ask? Said Hans. I should be the happiest man in the world if I could have money whenever I put my hand in my pocket. What could I want more? There's the goose. No, said the grinder, as he gave him a common rough stone that lay by his side. This is a most capital stone. Do but work it well enough, and you can make an old nail cut with it. Hans took the stone and went his way with a light heart. His eyes sparkled for joy, and he said to himself, Surely I must have been born in a lucky hour. Everything I could want or wish for comes of itself. People are so kind. They seem really to think I do them a favor in letting them make me rich, and giving me good bargains. Meantime, he began to be tired and hungry too, for he had given away his last penny in his joy at getting the cow. At last he could go no farther, for the stone tired him sadly, and he dragged himself to the side of a river, that he might take a drink of water and rest for a while. So he laid the stone carefully by his side on the bank, but as he stooped down to drink, he forgot it, pushed it a little, and down it rolled, plump into the stream. For a while he watched it sinking in the deep clear water, then sprang up and danced for joy, and again fell upon his knees and thanked heaven with tears in his eyes for its kindness in taking away his only plague, the ugly, heavy stone. How happy am I, cried he. Nobody was ever so lucky as I. Then up he got with a light heart, free from all his troubles, and walked on till he reached his mother's house, and told her how very easy the road to good luck was. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's hilarious. Yeah, so if you notice the story, he was not lucky, he just thought he was lucky. I suppose we need to be a fool to be lucky, to be happy, you know? I think it depends on how you see it. You know, we could say that, oh, I lost all this money. I once got a horse, a cow, a goose, a pig, a goose, and turned to stone. And now I'm free of the stone, so I'm lucky. What a happy fool. Night, Ivory. Hope you sleep well. Yeah, well, you know, if everyone is like Hans the Lucky. Is it Hans the Luck or Hans the... Yeah. If everyone in the world is like Hans, then the world will probably be a happier place. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. It wasn't iron, by the way, Tara. It was a silver. Silver as big as his head. He traded for a horse, by the way. Because he thought it was a nuisance to carry. Okay, hydrating. Oh yeah, it was a Grimtails. Yeah, that's the end. Yeah. So he came back empty-handed, essentially. After 7 years of hard work, he earned a silver as big as his head, and he basically lost it along the way. But he thought he was lucky because he didn't have to carry the stone anymore. Hydrating time, dreamers. How are you all? Honestly, dreamers, I really enjoy reading aloud. So I may make this like a weekly thing. And if you all enjoy it, please do comment what kind of story you would like me to read next. Preferably it's from part of the reading list in Gutenberg.org. I'm going to pin it in the comment, so you all can just reply to my comment or just comment directly on this video. Yeah. Feel free to suggest any kind of story you want, but preferably keep it safe for work and yeah. For not safe for work stuff, like not safe for work like readings, I'm thinking of like reading it like in my Patreon, and maybe like other books, because I do have a private Discord for my Patreons. Mainly because I can't manage too many people, unfortunately, dreamers. So yeah, this is all I can do. Yeah, you love listening to stories? Nice, Tara. I'm glad you do. Yeah. So right now, we can only speak in English in the chat because our mods are only English speaking. Maybe in the future, if I have like Indonesian mods, then I will also allow Indonesian in my streams, because I don't mind having Indonesian like in the chats, like Indonesian language in the chat. But yeah, I would have to have Indonesian mods for it first. Hello. Do you have any favorite story? I like both of the story right now. I haven't read all of them, but among the story is Hansel and Gretel. It's a classic one. I do love Hansel and Gretel. Percy Jackson books. Ooh, sure. Yeah, so if it's like any of the copyrighted books, probably I would read it like in my Discord server for my Patreons. But if it's like a public domain book, I can read it all to you all here. Yeah, luckily, the Grimm Brothers stories are public domain. It's a really old book. Oh, you love my videos? Thank you, Unknown. I'm supposed to be getting up, but the stories are so soothing. Yeah, you can sleep in a little bit, Moonflower. It's okay. A lot of people seem to like Percy Jackson. There's a new Percy Jackson series in Disney Plus, I believe. I saw it a little. It looks pretty good. Yeah, unfortunately, the Discord is only open to my Patreons right now. So I'm not publicly opening it yet. Sorry about that. Yeah, because I don't have mods in the Discord. It's just me, and I can't be managing too many people. Oh, the Percy Jackson one? Yeah, I don't know, but I think the Percy Jackson one is still protected by copyright. So I don't think I can read it like in a public stream like this. But we still got these ones. There's a lot of like really good public domain stories, so. Ooh. I don't know, Daddy. I feel like I'm burdening you too much already with like the modding of the streams. Because modding a Discord is pretty much a full-time job, in my opinion. So I don't think it's worth it yet. Thank you, Destroy. Yeah, I believe Percy Jackson is still protected by copyright because copyright technically is applies for 100 years when you make something. So basically, if you make any creative medium, right, the author owns the copyright to that book, song, or whatever medium it is for 100 years. And if someone reproduces it, and in terms of like books, if someone reads it aloud in public space, like on YouTube or like even just in a public library or like outside to a bunch of people, they technically can be sued by the by the copyright holder, right? Because they need what is called a public performance license. And unfortunately, these public performance licenses can be very, very expensive. I think it also depends on like what you want to use it for. Like, for example, if you just want to read it aloud in a library or something, then it probably will be cheaper. But if you want to read it aloud in like a YouTube video live stream, then you have to pay quite a huge sum for it. Like, I think depending on the number of pages, right, or like how many chapters are you reading the whole book, it could go up to $1,000 or maybe $2,000 just to read it. So, yeah, these things are no joke. Are you done with the fan art? Nice. Yeah, put it in hashtag Dreamers fan art, Tommy. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think your account still is pretty new, so I don't think your notification goes to me. Like your tag goes to my notification. I'll check your account though. Just post it. I just wonder, are you okay with fan art? Oh, I love fan art, Puyo. Please, please do. Dreamers, if you want to make any kind of fan art for me, please do. Please do. I really encourage it. Just tag me on Twitter, and I will repost it for you. I love all my Dreamers fan art. Yeah. If you have a Twitter, just tag me on my Twitter account. It's called @DreamBoyfriend9. Or alternatively, you can also use the fan art hashtag #DreamersFanArt. Oh, you love this Destroy? Destiny? My bad. I kept saying Destroy. My dyslexia, no. Maybe you can read us a story in Indonesian. Ooh, sure. Maybe we'll have one stream where I'm reading Indonesian stories. But yeah, but I would need an Indonesian mod though. Any of you Indonesians want a mod for me for my streams? Okay, let's fix this. Boy, your videos are meds, freaking meds. Oh, you can take your time, unknown. Yeah. And like all of you in the chat, if you want to make fan art, please do. I love fan art. I really love fan art. I love every one of them. Y'all are so talented. Oh, and by the way, I have an idea for this reading stream. I'm planning to do this once a week. If you dreamers want, if you're any of you dreamers are writers, right? If you have a story that you want me to read that you made, you can send it to me, and I would love to read it. I genuinely don't care, like, if it's not perfect grammatically or spelling. As long as it's readable, then I would read it aloud. But of course, it has to be safe for work. So I probably read it beforehand, and if I like it, I will read it in the live stream. So any of you dreamers right now in the chat, if you have a story that you want me to read, your story, something that you wrote, a poem, maybe. It could be anything. It could be short. It could be long. Anything really. Do send it to me. Actually, since we're taking a little break right now, I am going to make the email account. Oh, oops. Maybe I should do it in another. There we go. I'm going to make the email account, and I'm going to share it here. Gmail. Actually, I have a few existing email accounts that I don't use anymore. Maybe I should use those. Hold on. Oh, read The Origins of Buppy? Oh, right, yeah. Right, the one by Crystal, right? Yeah, maybe I should. Hold on. You know, I'm gonna just gonna make a brand new one. Let's create a new account. You. Maybe VTuber fan mail. Hold on. Okay, I agree. And there we go. Hey, Faye! Hello! By the way, everyone, if you like the thumbnail of this live stream, the artist for this thumbnail is Faye right there. Please follow them in all their socials. They have a Twitter account. Please like the hell out of them, follow them, show them some love. Faye has done so many good art for this channel. It's crazy. Right. There we go. And story submissions. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna pin that. There we go. Yes, please follow Faye as well. I just made a fan mail. Feel free to just send me art there. Alternatively, you can also just tag me on Twitter, whichever is more convenient for you. You can send me an email for your art, or you can send me an email for your writing works, whatever it is, and I'll be happy to read them for the next reading, ASMR reading stream. Oh, Ace says hi to you all. Hi, Ace. Oh, you're not doing well, Faye? Well, get well soon. Okay. Right. I'm gonna drink some more water. Hell yeah, make anything you want. Baby clouds, DBs, anything. I love getting fan art. Okay. We're going to go to the next story, everybody. Hope you're all ready. The next story is called Jorinda and Jorindel. There was once an old castle that stood in the middle of a deep, gloomy wood, and in the castle lived an old fairy. Now, this fairy could take any shape she pleased. All the day long she flew about in the form of an owl, or crept about the country like a cat. But at night she always became an old woman again. When any young man came within 100 paces of her castle, he became quite fixed, and could not move a step till she came and set him free, which she would not do till he had given her his word never to come there again. But when any pretty maiden came within that space, she was changed into a bird, and the fairy put her into a cage, and hung her up in a chamber in the castle. There were 700 of these cages hanging in the castle, and all with beautiful birds in them. Now, there was once a maiden whose name was Jorinda. She was prettier than all the pretty girls that ever were seen before. And a shepherd lad, whose name was Jorindel, was very fond of her, and they were soon to be married. One day they went to walk in the wood, that they might be alone, and Jorindel said, "We must take care that we don't go too near the fairy's castle." It was a beautiful evening. The last rays of the setting sun shone bright through the long stems of the trees upon the green underwood beneath, and the turtle doves sang from the tall birches. Jorinda sat down to gaze upon the sun. Jorindel sat by her side, and both felt sad. They knew not why, but it seemed as if they were to be parted from one another forever. They had wandered a long way, and when they looked to see which way they should go home, they found themselves at a loss to know what path to take. The sun was setting fast, and already half of its circle had sunk behind the hill. Jorindel on a sudden looked behind him, and saw through the bushes that they had, without knowing it, sat down close under the walls of the castle. Then he shrank for fear, turned pale, and trembled. Jorinda was just singing. The ring-dove sang from the willow spray, well a day, well a day. He mourned for the fate of his darling mate, well a day. When her song stopped suddenly, Jorindel turned to see the reason, and beheld his Jorinda changed into a nightingale, so that her song ended with a mournful jug jug. An owl with fiery eyes flew 3 times round them, and 3 times screamed, "Doo, doo, doo." Jorindel could not move. He stood fixed as a stone, and could neither weep nor speak, nor stir hand or foot. And now the sun went quite down. The gloomy night came. The owl flew into bush, and a moment after, the old fairy came forth pale and meagre, with staring eyes, and a nose and chin that almost met one another. She mumbled something to herself, seized the nightingale, and went away with it in her hand. Poor Jorindel saw that the nightingale was gone, but what could he do? He could not speak. He could not move from the spot where he stood. At last the fairy came back and sang with a hoarse voice, "Till the prisoner is fast, and her doom is cast, they stay, oh stay. When the charm is around her, and the spell has bound her, he away, away." On a sudden, Jorindel found himself free. Then he fell on his knees before the fairy, and prayed her to give him back his dear Jorinda. But she laughed at him, and said he should never see her again. And she went her way. He prayed, he wept, he sorrowed, but all in vain. "Alas," he said, "what will become of me?" He could not go back to his own home, so he went to a strange village and employed himself in keeping sheep. Many a time did he walk round and round, as near to the hated castle as he dared go, but all in vain. He heard or saw nothing of Jorinda. At last he dreamt one night that he found a beautiful purple flower, and that in the middle of it lay a costly pearl. And he dreamt that he plucked the flower, and went with it in his hand into the castle, and that everything he touched with it was disenchanted, and that there he found his Jorinda again. In the morning when he awoke, he began to search over hill and dale for this pretty flower, and 8 long days he sought for it in vain. But on the 9th day, early in the morning, he found the beautiful purple flower, and in the middle of it was a large dewdrop, as big as a costly pearl. Then he plucked the flower, and set out and travelled day and night till he came again to the castle. He walked nearer than 100 paces to it, and yet he did not become fixed as before, but found that he could go quite close up to the door. Jorindel was very glad indeed to see this, and he touched the door with the flower, and it sprang open, so that he went in through the court, and listened when he heard so many birds singing. At last he came to the chamber where the fairy sat, with the 700 birds singing in the 700 cages. When she saw Jorindel, she was very angry, and screamed with rage, but she could not come within 2 yards of him, for the flower he held in his hand was his safeguard. He looked around at the birds, but alas, there were many, many nightingales, and how then should he find out which was his Jorinda? While he was thinking what to do, he saw the fairy had taken down one of the cages, and was making the best of her way off through the door. He ran or flew after her, touched the cage with a flower, and Jorinda stood before him, and threw her arms round his neck, looking as beautiful as ever, as beautiful as when they walked together in the wood. Then he touched all the other birds with the flower, so that they all took their old forms again. And he took Jorinda home, where they were married and lived happily together many years. And so did good many other lads, whose maidens had been forced to sing in the old fairies' cages by themselves, much longer than they liked. That was a short one. I like that. Yeah, well, welcome. For those of you just joined, welcome. I'm reading the Grimm's Fairy Tales. It's a very old book, which contains all the fairy tales that you probably know by, like, in today's world. There's Rapunzel, there is Hansel and Gretel. We haven't got to them yet. We've only gotten to the first few fairy tales, which I think were pretty nice. They were not as grim as I thought they would be. But then again, we haven't read all of them. So happy to have found you reading live. Thank you. Oh, happy to have you here, Bella. Glad you liked it. Oh, I just joined and your voice is deep and calming. I'm glad you think so. I hope I can make you calm and help you sleep, for those who are trying to sleep. For those who are not trying to sleep, then I do apologize. It might make you sleepy. Right. I think this is a good time to have a hydration break. Ooh, the baby clouds are almost done. Thank you, Tommy. Can't wait to see them. I got goosebumps when I enter. It's deep. Yeah. Sorry if it surprised you. Yes, my voice is deep by default. Hydrating time, dreamers. Alright. This next one is called The Traveling Musicians. Right. An honest farmer had once an ass that had been a faithful servant to him a great many years. By the way, if you don't know, ass is basically a donkey. But was now growing old, and every day more and more unfit for work. His master therefore was tired of keeping him and began to think of putting an end to him. But the ass, who saw that some mischief was in the wind, took himself slyly off and began his journey towards the great city. For there, thought he, I may turn musician. After he had traveled a little way, he spied a dog lying by the roadside and panting as if he were tired. "What makes you pant so, my friend?" said the ass. "Alas," said the dog, "my master was going to knock me on the head, because I am old and weak, and can no longer make myself useful to him in hunting. So I ran away. But what can I do to earn my livelihood?" "Hark ye," said the ass, "I'm going to the great city to turn musician. Suppose you go with me, and try what you can do in the same way." The dog said he was willing, and they jogged on together. Donkeys were called ass? Just realized that. Yes, they were called ass. They had not gone far before they saw a cat sitting in the middle of the road and making a most rueful face. "Pray, my good lady," said the ass, What's the matter with you? You look quite out of spirits." "Ah, me," said the cat. "How can one be in good spirits when one's life is in danger? Because I'm beginning to grow old, and I'd rather lie at my ease by the fire than run about the house after the mice. My mistress laid hold of me and was going to drown me, and though I have been lucky enough to get away from her, I do not know what I am to live upon." "Oh," said the ass, "by all means go with us to the great city. You are a good night singer, and may make your fortune as a musician." The cat was pleased with the thought and joined the party. Soon afterwards, as they were passing by a farmyard, they saw a cock perched upon a gate. By the way, cock is, the chicken, okay? Nothing else. Perched upon the gate, and screaming out with all his might and main. "Bravo," said the ass. "Upon my word, you make a famous noise. Pray, what is all this about?" "Why," said the cock, "I was just now saying that we should have fine weather for our washing day, and yet my mistress and the cook don't thank me for my pains, but threaten to cut off my head tomorrow, and make broth of me for the guests that are coming on Sunday." "Heaven forbid," said the ass. "Come with us, Master Chanticleer. It will be better at any rate than staying here to have your head cut off. Besides, who knows? If we care to sing in tune, we may get up some kind of concert. So come along with us." "With all my heart," said the cock. So they all four went on jollily together. By the way, it's just an ass and cock. Nothing, nothing to see here. Just a normal ass and cock. They could not, however, reach the great city the first day. So, when night came on, they went into a wood to sleep. The ass and the dog laid themselves down under a great tree, and the cat climbed up into the branches, while the cock, thinking that the higher he sat the safer he should be, flew up to the very top of the tree, and then, according to his custom before he went to sleep, looked out on all sides of him to see that everything was well. In doing this, he saw afar off something bright and shining, and calling to his companions said, "There must be a house no great way off, for I see a light." "If that be the case," said the ass, "we had better change our quarters, for our lodging is not the best in the world. Besides," added the dog, "I should not be the worse for a bone or two, or a bit of meat." So they walked off together towards the spot where the Chanticleer had seen the light, and as they drew near it, became larger and brighter, till they at last came close to a house, in which a gang of robbers lived. The ass, being the tallest of the company, marched up to the window and peeped in. "Well, donkey," said Chanticleer, "what do you see?" "What do I see?" replied the ass. "Why, I see a table spread with all kinds of good things, and robbers sitting around it, making merry." "That will be a noble lodging for us," said the cock. "Yes," said the ass, "if we could only get in." So they consulted together how they should contrive to get the robbers out, and at last they hit upon a plan. The ass placed himself upright on his hind legs, with his 4 feet resting against the window. The dog got upon his back. The cat scrambled up to the dog's shoulders, and the cock flew up and sat upon the cat's head. When all was ready, a signal was given, and they began their music. The ass brayed, the dog barked, the cat mewed, and the cock screamed, and then they all broke through the window at once, and came tumbling into the room amongst the broken glass, with a most hideous clatter. The robbers, who had been not a little frightened by the opening concert, had now no doubt that some frightful hobgoblin had broken in upon them, and scampered away as fast as they could. The coast once clear, our travellers soon sat down and dispatched what the robbers had left, with as much eagerness as if they had not expected to eat again for a month. As soon as they had satisfied themselves, they put out the lights, and each once more sought out a resting place to his own liking. The donkey laid himself down upon a heap of straw in the yard. The dog stretched himself upon a mat behind the door. The cat rolled herself up on the hearth before the warm ashes, and the cock perched upon a beam on the top of the house, and, as they were all rather tired with their journey, they soon fell asleep. But about midnight, when the robbers saw from afar that the lights were out, and that all seemed quiet, they began to think that they had been in too great a hurry to run away. And one of them, who was bolder than the rest, went to see what was going on. Finding everything still, he marched into the kitchen, and groped about till he found a match in order to light a candle. And then, espying the glittering fiery eyes of the cat, he mistook them for live coals, and held the match to them to light it. But the cat, not understanding this joke, sprang at his face, and spat and scratched him. This frightened him dreadfully, and away he ran to the back door. But there the dog jumped up and bit him in the leg, and as he was crossing over the yard, the ass kicked him, and the cock, who had been awakened by the noise, crowed with all his might. At this the robber ran back as fast as he could to his comrades, and told the captain how a horrid witch had got into the house, and had spat at him and scratched his face with her long bony fingers, how a man with a knife in his hand had hidden himself behind the door and stabbed him in the leg, how a black monster stood in the yard and struck him with a club, and how the devil had sat upon the top of the house and cried out, "Throw the rascal up here." After this, the robbers never dared to go back to the house, but the musicians were so pleased with their quarters that they took up their abode there. And there they are, I dare say, at this very day. He said he will read so he can see, but I can't stop laughing. You can't with the names. Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's just an ass and a cock. There's nothing wrong with those. Just everyday animals, you know? The new people coming in hearing the names. By the way, for those who don't know, these are Old English. Ass is donkey and cock is, well, you know, a chicken, like a male chicken. But I like that story. I liked it. I think a lot of people can have a giggle seeing the names. Were you holding the laugh? Oh yeah, I was. man, I don't know, man. Like the whole the whole story was an innuendo, I think. I thought I can sleep, but I started laughing. I'm glad you're having a good time. Why? That's how you call the male chickens in French, though? Oh, nice. A bad ass. Oh, yes. It was a very bad ass. Right. Hydration break, everyone. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we can continue to the next story. If you couldn't really focus on the story. You can call me Yeezy. Okay. Alright, Yeezy. And a prick is a needle. Exactly. What a prick. He's a needle. We haven't encountered a prick yet, so hopefully we can see a prick. This is more important than the exam, y'all. Oh, I hope you studied well for the exam, Yeezy. Yeah. Make sure to rest. I think a lot of times people kind of get brain dead during the exam because they didn't get enough rest. So study enough and rest well is all I can say. I was supposed to be asleep, but the story made me wide awake. Sorry about that, Puya. Well, there are stories like this from time to time. You study this and review this? Hell yeah. Alright, Yeezy. There's gonna be a pop quiz later. You know, like, what did the ass do, and what did the cock do? And what did the cat do? No. Oh no, don't write that in your exam, Yeezy. I love your voice. It's cute for me. Oh, thank you, Amani. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, we're taking a 5-minute break. Damn, I really love reading stories like this. DB, can you choose between 1 or 2? Number 2. 2 is a very special number for me because I'm the second brother. I'm the second sibling of my family. And I don't know, I've been lucky with number 2 all the time. I find comfort in it. Got distracted by the names. Lamal, please. Cock-a-doo-doo-doo. It's 9 a.m. Too early to be this drowsy. Well, you can get out the live stream, Paula, and listen to maybe later at night. The VOD is going to be there on my live stream section. You're really about to sleep again, Deku? Well, it's a Saturday, right? So I think you can afford to sleep a little bit. 2 it is. Alright, Puyo. I'm excited. Right, for those of you who want to make fan art, you can tag me on Twitter at DreamBoyfriend9. That's DreamBoyfriend, capital D, capital B, and a 9 at the end. And if you don't have Twitter, alternatively, you can also go to my fan art, like fan mail. It's pinned right there, DBVtuber fan mail at gmail.com. I would love to see all your submissions. And if you are a writer, no matter what level you are, feel free to send me any of your works. I might consider them to be read on next week's ASMR reading. It's almost 9 a.m., but it's so soothing. I'm glad you're having a good time, Bill. 10:40 in the evening in Philippines, but yeah, I'll sleep 3 in the morning, I promise y'all. Oh, Philippines, kamusta naman? Yeah, welcome, welcome. Yeah, there's quite the international chat here. Yeah, there's a lot more dreamers here than usual. I'm glad you all are liking the ASMR reading. I'm really enjoying myself reading all this. Always wanted to write, but always give up after the first sentence somehow. Well, again, I think you should just do it. You should just write anything you want. It could just be bullet points, right? Inspiration will come to you. But yeah, writer's block is really, really harsh sometimes. I think take your time. Do it at your own pace. But yeah. But trust me, whenever you make something for the first time, whatever it is, whether it's art, whether it's writing, it's gonna suck. But it's okay. It's okay. Because what started off as something that sucks will eventually become something better. I'm gonna tell you right now, dreamers, when I first made my first ASMR, it's not as polished as the ASMR you know right now. I had a terrible mic. I think I was recording from my phone actually, and my microphone peaked a lot. And I remember my very first ASMR was about Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan. I drew an art for the Levi character. He was wearing like a red sweater, and he looked so derpy. I tell you what. If you want to see it, you can go to my previous channel called Akuma ASMR. And the very first video, you can see the Levi Ackerman video. It's night and day to the ASMRs I have now. So I'm telling you, just do it. Just make something. Right? And when you do make something, be proud of yourself. You're much braver than everyone else who keeps saying that they might want to do something, but they never did. Take that first step. Where can I send it again? You can send it in the email that is pinned on the pinned chat, in the chat. dbvtuber.fanmail@gmail.com. I sleep every day listening to your voice. Aw, I'm glad. I'm glad I could accompany you to sleep, Amani. I think a part of the reason why I keep doing ASMR is that a lot of people seem to find comfort in listening to my voice. And a lot of people who have insomnia said that I help them with it. I don't know about that, but it's really encouraging, you know? Yeah, it really drives me to hear all these, that I'm making a difference, you know? Like, even if I'm just helping one person, I think that's enough for me. I wrote the beginning of a story when I was a little younger. Ooh, please do send it to me, Crystal. I would love to read. And this is the reason why I'm making Fahrenheit. You made it possible for one of the dreams wishes to come true. Yeah. Dreamers, if my channel has a message, it will just be to follow your dreams. No matter how stupid it is. You know? Other people might find your dream stupid, but it's not. It's your dream. Right? Others might say, you'll never achieve it. Others might, you know, belittle you for even trying to do it. But really, they're just jealous because they didn't try to get their own dreams. You'll know that anyone who's going for their dreams will respect other people who are also looking for their dreams. So yeah, do it. Whatever it is you want to do, whether it's writing, whether it's reading, sorry, not reading, writing, doing art, well, I guess suppose reading, maybe even doing ASMR, making videos on YouTube, be a YouTuber, do live streams, right? Or maybe get that dream job you want. Make steps to get there. Bit by bit, you'll get there. I believe in you. And even if you didn't, at the end of the day, you made steps towards it, and you'll never regret that. And I'm telling you right now, dreamers, I never regretted the steps that I made, because these are the steps that help me achieve my dream. Oh, the story's in French? Oh, sorry, Crystal. I can't read French. I can try, but I will probably fail. Thank you for all. Nah, thank you, dreamers. Y'all's positive energies really fuel me. Yeah, reading helps a lot if you're trying to write. Yeah, I've been trying to read. Oh, so this is actually my very first time reading so much. I've actually never read this much in my life, I think. So it's actually very refreshing. And I actually never thought that I would enjoy reading, let alone reading aloud like this. So thank you, dreamers. It's really nice to find something that you like, even at this age. Yeah, try something new, dreamers. Who knows, you might like it. Your video even helped me in my migraines? Really? Damn. Damn, I'm good. I'm glad I helped you, Zarin. I feel like your voice helped me getting away from stepdad. He's not nice a lot of time, Neil, so when I found your channel, it helped me out with my problems. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Tommy. Yeah. I hope your stepdad can be nicer to you. Oh, Angel, hello, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, reading is pretty fun. I only found the joys of reading, like, recently. It's genuinely very fun. Alright, I think our break is over. I'm gonna drink one more water. Alright. The next story is called Old Sultan. A shepherd had a faithful dog called Sultan, who was grown very old and had lost all his teeth. And one day, when the shepherd and his wife were standing together before the house, the shepherd said, "I will shoot old Sultan tomorrow morning, for he is of no use now." But his wife said, "Pray let the poor faithful creature live. He has served us well a great many years, and we ought to give him a livelihood for the rest of his days." "But what can we do with him?" said the shepherd. "He has not a tooth in his head, and the thieves don't care for him at all. To be sure, he has served us, but then he did it to earn his livelihood. Tomorrow shall be his last day, depend upon it." Poor Sultan, who was lying close by them, heard all that the shepherd and his wife said to another, and was very much frightened to think tomorrow would be his last day. So in the evening he went to his good friend the wolf, who lived in the wood, and told him all his sorrows, and how his master meant to kill him in the morning. "Make yourself easy," said the wolf. "I will give you some good advice. Your master, goes out every morning very early with his wife into the field, and they take their little child with them and lay it down behind the hedge in the shade while they are at work. Now, do you lie down close by the child and pretend to be watching it, and I will come out of the wood and run away with it. You must run after me as fast as you can, and I will let it drop. Then you may carry it back, and they will think you have saved their child, and will be so thankful to you that they will take care of you as long as you live." The dog liked this plan very well, and accordingly, so it was managed. The wolf ran with the child a little way. The shepherd and his wife screamed out, but Sultan soon overtook him, and carried the poor little thing back to his master and mistress. Then the shepherd patted him on the head, and said, "Old Sultan has saved our child from the wolf, and therefore he shall live and be well taken care of, and have plenty to eat. Wife, go home, and give him a good dinner, and let him have my old cushion to sleep on as long as he lives." So from this time forward, Sultan had all that he could wish for. Soon afterwards, the wolf came and wished him joy, and said, "Now, my good fellow, you must tell no tales, but turn your head the other way, when I want to taste one of the old shepherd's fine, fat sheep." "No," said the Sultan, "I will be true to my master." However, the wolf thought he was in joke, and came one night to get a dainty morsel. But Sultan had told his master that what the wolf meant to do, so he laid wait for him behind the barn door. And when the wolf was busy looking out for a good fat sheep, he had a stout cudgel laid about his back that combed his locks for him finely. Then the wolf was very angry, and called Sultan an old rogue, and swore he would have his revenge. So the next morning the wolf sent the boar to challenge Sultan to come into the wood to fight the matter. Now Sultan had nobody he could ask to be his second, but the shepherd's old three-legged cat. So he took her with him, and as the poor thing limped along with some trouble, she stuck up her tail straight in the air. The wolf and the wild boar were first on the ground, and when they espied their enemies coming, and saw the cat's long tail standing straight in the air, they thought she was carrying a sword for a sultan to fight with, and every time she limped, they thought she was picking up a stone to throw at them. So they said they should not like this way of fighting, and the boar lay down behind a bush, and the wolf jumped up into a tree. Sultan and the cat soon came up, and looked about and wondered that no one was there. The boar, however, had not quite hidden himself, for his ears stuck out of the bush, and when he shook one of them a little, the cat, seeing something move, and thinking it was a mouse, sprang upon it, and bit and scratched it, so that the boar jumped up and grunted and ran away, roaring out, "Look up in the tree, there sits the one who is to blame." So they looked up and espied the wolf sitting amongst the branches, and they called him a cowardly rascal, and would not suffer him to come down till he was heartily ashamed of himself, and has promised to be good friends again with old Sultan. The end. Oh, this one's short too. So when are you doing a live singing session? I'm not that good at singing, honestly. Yeah, but the problem with singing is that it only sounds good if there's some music in the background, so I can sing along to it. But yeah, unfortunately, these songs are very heavily copyrighted, so I don't think I can sing anything. Coloring is a good way to stop overthinking. Ooh, that's a nice technique, Debbie. Oh, hi, Chilu. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Currently, I'm reading the Grimm fairy tales by the Grimm brothers. So far, they're not so grim as I thought they would be. You are using California Girls very nicely. I think I sing California Girls in a fun way, not in a decent way, I think. Right. Hydration break, dreamers. Right. Hydration break. Damn, the chat is quiet. Are you all asleep? If you all are asleep, then I did my job. You're welcome. Oh, that's why it's good. You know, like how sillily I sing California Girls. Oh, BRB, I gotta blow my nose. Hi, Kai. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Not sleeping yet? You just chilling? Alright. Tell me here in another account, but posted the fan art. And as I did, my network went out. Aw. It's okay, Tommy. Welcome back. I sing good? Really? Eh. It's an eh, I would say. I've very much to learn when it comes to being a singer. Still so much to learn. I'm not asleep, I'm eating. Alright, Amani, enjoy your meal. Just sipping good water. Alright, let's get to the next story. It's eh? What do you mean? I mean, I don't think it's like beautiful singing. I think it's just fun singing. I can sing for fun. Well, just know we love your singing. Daw, thank you, Deku. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Alright, let's go to the next story. The straw, the coal, and the bean. In a village dwelt a poor old woman who had gathered together a dish of beans and wanted to cook them. So she made a fire on her hearth, and that it might burn the quicker, she lighted it with a handful of straw. When she was emptying the beans into the pan, one dropped without her observing it, and lay on the ground beside a straw, and soon afterwards a burning coal from the fire leapt down to the two. Then the straw began and said, "Dear friends, from whence do you come here?" The coal replied, "I fortunately sprang out of the fire, and if I had not escaped by sheer force, my death would have been certain. I should have been burned to ashes." The bean said, "I too have escaped with a whole skin, but if the old woman had got me into the pan, I should have been made into broth without any mercy, like my comrades." "And would a better fate have fallen to my lot?" said the straw. "The old woman has destroyed all my brethren in fire and smoke. She seized 60 of them at once, and took their lives. I luckily slipped through her fingers." "But what are we to do now?" said the coal. "I think," answered the bean, that as we have so fortunately escaped death, we should keep together like good companions, and lest a new mischance should overtake us here, we should go away together and repair to a foreign country. The, the proposition pleased the two others, and they set out on their way together. Soon, however, they came to a little brook, and as there was no bridge or footplank, they did not know how they were to get over it. The straw hit on a good idea, and said, "I will lay myself straight across, and then you can walk over on me as on a bridge." The straw therefore stretched itself from one bank to the other, and the coal, who was of an impetuous disposition, tripped quite boldly onto the newly built bridge. But when she had reached the middle, and heard the water rushing beneath her, she was after all afraid, and stood still, and ventured no farther. The straw, however, began to burn, broke in two pieces, and fell into the stream. The coal slipped after her, hissed when she got into the water, and breathed her last. The bean, who had prudently stayed behind on the shore, could not but laugh at the event, was unable to stop, and laughed so heartily that she burst. It would have been all over with her, likewise, if, by good fortune, a tailor who was travelling in search of work had not sat down to rest by the brook. As he had a compassionate heart, he pulled out his needle and thread, and sewed her together. The bean thanked him most prettily, but as the tailor used black thread, all beans since then have a black seam. Oh, okay. So that's the origins of how beans have the black seam. That's an interesting way of wording. I like that. The bean thanked him most prettily. I thanked him most prettily. Why, dreamers, I thank you most prettily. Yes, I thank you all very prettily. Thank you for coming to the live stream. I need to study, but I can't focus. Well, probably because you're listening to the stream. Yeah, you can tone it, like, lower the volume on my stream. Maybe that will help you focus. His voice is so calm. I love it so much. Thank you. DB, may I say one thing? Sure, Tommy. The darker grim fairy tales, I thought it would be like, yeah, I thought it would be darker than this. Or is that another one? It's not so dark. These are fine. In my opinion, anyway. Damn, I've been reading for 2 hours. Time flies when you're having fun, right, dreamers? Yeah, by the way, Tommy, I'm waiting for you to say something. Or am I lagging? I don't see the chat going up. I become a father figure in me. Oh. Well, I hope I'm doing well as a father figure. Well, I've always wanted to be a father one day. Yeah, but I'm always too afraid whether I'm going to do a good job. Because I was never really good with children, you know? Only recently I tried to open up to children. It's still very hard to me, in my opinion. But, I don't know. Like, Evie says that, the fact that I enjoy reading bedtime stories is it's a good fatherly trait, I guess. I'm definitely gonna read my children bedtime stories. That's for sure. Probably gonna do lots of like voices with it too. Oh, the Rapunzel one is dark. Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, you read this one, Crystal. Hydrating time, dreamers. You grab your water. Hydrate, everyone. Hydrate. They always say hydrate, but never housedrate. Some children is ick to me. I think children is just being children, you know? And this is an interesting thing. Apparently, if you find something annoying about children, it's kind of like a reflection to yourself, you know? And I think it's true, because the things that I find annoying about children are the things that I used to do, you know? It's kind of like cringing, and I'm just cringing at myself, like my older self, you know? But yeah, but if you accept that children are still like just children and they're still learning to be a functional member of society, I don't know. I think it's cute. They'd be lucky to have you as a father. Be dawn. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's read the next story. Right. The next story is called Brier Rose. A king and queen, once upon a time, reigned in a country a great way off, where there were, in those days, fairies. Now this king and queen had plenty of money, and plenty of fine clothes to wear, and plenty of good things to eat and drink, and a coach to ride out in every day. But though they had been married many years, they had no children, and this grieved them very much indeed. But one day, as the queen was walking by the side of the river, at the bottom of the garden, she saw a poor little fish that had thrown itself out of the water and lay gasping and nearly dead on the bank. Then the queen took pity on the little fish and threw it back again into the river, and before it swam away, it lifted its head out of the water and said, "I know what your wish is, and it shall be fulfilled. In return for your kindness to me, you will soon have a daughter." What the little fish had foretold soon came to pass, and the queen had a little girl, so very beautiful that the king could not cease looking on it for joy, and said he would hold a great feast and make merry, and show the child to all the land. So he asked his kinsmen and nobles and friends and neighbors. But the queen said, "I will have the fairies also, that they might be kind and good to our little daughter." Now there were 13 fairies in the kingdom, but as the king and queen had only 12 golden dishes for them to eat out of, they were forced to leave one of the fairies without asking her. So 12 fairies came, each with a high red cap on her head, and red shoes, with high heels on her feet, and a long white wand in her hand. And after the feast was over, they gathered round in a ring and gave all their best gifts to the little princess. One gave her goodness, another beauty, another riches, and so on till she had all that was good in the world. Just as 11 of them had done blessing her, a great noise was heard in the courtyard, and word was brought that the 13th fairy was come, with a black cap on her head and black shoes on her feet. and a broomstick in her hand, and presently up she came into the dining hall. Now, as she had not been asked to the feast, she was very angry, and scolded the king and queen very much, and set to work to take her revenge. So she cried out, "The king's daughter shall, in her 15th year, be wounded by a spindle, and fall down dead." Then the 12th of the friendly fairies, who had not yet given her gift, came forward and said that the evil wish must be fulfilled, but that she could soften its mischief. So her gift was that the king's daughter, when the spindle wounded her, should not really die, but should only fall asleep for 100 years. However, the king hoped still to save his dear child altogether from the threatened evil. So he ordered that all the spindles in the kingdom should be bought up and burnt. But all the gifts of the first 11 fairies were in the meantime fulfilled, for the princess was so beautiful and well behaved and good and wise that everyone who knew her loved her. It happened that on the very day she was 15 years old, the king and queen were not at home, and she was left alone in the palace. So she roved about by herself and looked at all the rooms and chambers, till at last she came to an old tower, to which there was a narrow staircase ending with a little door. In the door there was a golden key, and when she turned it, the door sprang open, and there sat an old lady spinning away very busily. "Why, how now, good mother?" Oh, wait, this is the kid. "Why, how now, good mother?" said the princess. "What are you doing there?" "Spinning." Oh, hold on. I have a call. My bad. Let me mute. Hold on. Hold on, dreamers. My mom called me because she couldn't access the Netflix password. She was asking for the password. Damn it, Mom. I'm live. I'm live, Mom. Can't you see? I'm reading the story to the dreamers. Hold on, I'm still handling it. And she's like, "But I want to watch Netflix. I want to catch up with my K-drama. But Mom, I'm live right now." Hold on. Mom is the pushy kind, so let me finish this. Yeah, in the meantime, we'll take like a impromptu break. Oh, wait, the password is in the email. Hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Parents always forgot password. No, so she remembered the password, but I think Netflix has a new policy for like accessing like its stuff, right? So it required like activation code, and the activation code is going to my email, and I'm just basically opening my email to look at the activation code. Okay. Selma, if now she can finally enjoy her K-drama. At least not the Wi-Fi password. Ask ma'am for some K-drama recommendations. I think she would probably say like Crash Landing on You or stuff like that. And I think she was like watching this business kind of thing. I forgot what was this startup? That's a long time ago. I haven't catched up with her about K-dramas, man. DB, have you ever played Minecraft? Yes, I have. I see you roll your eyes there. Sorry, I'm just replying to mom right now. Yeah, there, mom. I'm live, live, live with a bunch of people. There, you buddy. Okay. Sorry, I gotta answer my mom. Let me go back to my live stream, mom. Okay, yeah, she wanted to have lunch with me. Okay, that's done with. Okay, I think she's good. Hey, Midnight. Hello. Hello, Kai. Welcome. Welcome back, Kai. Welcome to the ASMR reading stream. Okay, where was I? I think I lost track where I last read. Okay. Go back to relaxing, dreamers. However, the king hopes still to save... Wait. Okay, but no. That's done. That's done. Right. Okay. It's kind of ironic because, like, mom called as soon as, like, why, how now, good mother? And then, like, mom... The word mother summoned my mom, essentially. Why, how now, good mother? Said the princess. What are you doing there? Spinning, said the old lady. Spinning. and nodded her head, humming a tune, while buzz went the wheel. "How prettily that little thing turns round," said the princess, and took the spindle and began to try and spin. But scarcely had she touched it, before the fairy's prophecy was fulfilled, the spindle wounded her, and she fell down lifeless on the ground. However, she was not dead, but had only fallen into a deep sleep, and the king and the queen, who had just come home, and all their court fell asleep too. And the horses slept in the stables, and the dogs in the court, the pigeons on the housetop, and the very flies slept upon the walls. Even the fire on the hearth left off blazing, and went to sleep. The jack stopped, and the spit that was turning about with a goose upon it for the king's dinner stood still. And the cook, who was at that moment pulling the kitchen boy by the hair to give him a box on the ear for something he had done amiss, let him go, and both fell asleep. The butler, who was slyly tasting the ale, fell asleep with the jug at his lips, and thus everything stood still and slept soundly. A large hedge of thorns soon grew round the palace, and every year it became higher and thicker, till at last the old palace was surrounded and hidden, so that not even the roof or the chimneys could be seen. But there went a report through all the land of the beautiful sleeping Brier Rose, for so the king's daughter was called, so that from time to time several kings' sons came and tried to break through the thicket into the palace. This, however, none of them could ever do, for the thorns and bushes laid hold of them, as it were with hands, and there they stuck fast and died wretchedly. After many, many years, there came a king's son into that land, and an old man told him the story of the thicket of thorns, and how a beautiful palace stood behind it, and how a wonderful princess called Brier Rose lay in it asleep, with all her court. He told, too, how he had heard from his grandfather that many, many princes had come, and had tried to break through the thicket, but that they had all stuck fast in it and died. Then the young prince said, "All this shall not frighten me. I will go and see this Brier Rose." The old man tried to hinder him, but he was bent upon going. Now that very day the 100 years were ended, and as the prince came to the thicket, he saw nothing but beautiful flowering shrubs, through which he went with ease, and they shut in after him as thick as ever. Then he came at last to the palace, and there in the court lay the dogs asleep, and the horses were standing in the stables, and on the roof sat the pigeons fast asleep, with their heads under their wings. And when he came into the palace, the flies were sleeping on the walls. The spit was standing still. The butler had the jug of ale at his lips, going to drink a draught. The maid sat with a fowl in her lap, ready to be plucked, and the cook in the kitchen was still holding up her hand, as if she was going to beat the boy. Then he went on still farther, and all was so still that he could hear every breath he drew, till at last he came to the old tower, and opened the door of the little room in which Brier Rose was, and there she lay, fast asleep on a couch by the window. She looked so beautiful that he could not take his eyes off her, so he stooped down and gave her a kiss. But the moment he kissed her, she opened her eyes and awoke, and smiled upon him. And they went out together, and soon the king and queen also awoke, and all the court, and gazed on each other with great wonder. And the horses shook themselves, and the dogs jumped up and barked. The pigeons took their heads from under their wings, and looked about and flew into the fields. The flies on the walls buzzed again. The fire in the kitchen blazed up. Round went the jack, and round went the spit, with a goose for the king's dinner upon it. The butler finished his draught of ale. The maid went on plucking the fowl, and the cook gave the boy the box on his ear. And then the prince and Brier Rose were married, and the wedding feast was given, and they lived happily together all their lives long. This one's kind of weird, in my opinion. You know, just people trying to kiss like a girl that's just asleep, man. God damn. Times were weird back then. Times were indeed weird. Hi DB, I completely forgot about this live stream, so I'm late. It's okay, Namira. Welcome, welcome. Did she deserve it? Hello, did. Yeah, it's basically the original Sleeping Beauty by the Grimm brothers. Yeah, I don't play much Minecraft anymore though, Tommy. Unfortunately. Yeah, I like to play other games. Oh, there's even a darker version. Damn. God damn. So I guess this is the light version of the Grimm brothers? I'm not too sure. Bye, Puyo. Have a good night. Yeah, this is the... well, I'm not sure if this is the original, but this is like from the Grimm brothers, so it should be pretty original, actually. Yeah. This is like the original Grimm brothers one. Wait, let me double check, actually. Hold on. Let me double check. Right, so Grimm's Fairy Tales by Jacob Grimm. No. Right, so it's the author is Grimm Jacob and Wilhelm. Sorry, Jacob Grimm and Wilhelm Grimm, from 1785 to 1863. Right. Hmm. Yeah, this is the original one, apparently. Grimm Brothers. Grimm Brothers Fairy Tale release date. This was released in 1812. It's a long time ago. So apparently Wilhelm and Jacob Grimm published their first volume of fairy tales in 1812, and they had started collecting fairy tales in the hope of discovering some essential truths about the cultural heritage of the common people. So these are basically a compilation of fairy tales that they heard from their travels, essentially, right? And they're writing it in their own words. So essentially folklore and stuff like that. When was the first edition of 20th December 1812? Yeah, so this is the original one. Really? Maybe that's a darker version. Grimm Fairy Tales. Original? Right. So the Grimm fairy tales, they basically transform the fairy tales into a more palatable form. But the original versions of each of the fairy tales are from common folklore, right? And the original ones are a lot grimmer than the Grimm brothers one, apparently. Let me see. Such stories as Rapunzel and Hansel and Gretel would become the most celebrated. Yet few people today are familiar with the majority of tales too. Since in the next 4 decades, Grimm's would publish 6 other editions, each extensively revised in content and style. Oh. Right, so basically, the original ones are much darker, right? But they were transformed to be more palatable. Like the content was revised to be more palatable for children. And that was the one that we're reading in 1812. That was released on 1812 right now. This is the book right here. But the original ones, the original stories, are much, much darker. Yeah. Yeah, so like the Grimm brothers were very, very surprised to see that Rapunzel, Hansel and Gretel, and Cinderella would be one of the most celebrated stories in the world, even though the original stories are very, very grim. Oh god, imagine DB's voice while reading a horror story. That would probably send chills down my spine. Maybe we can have that in the upcoming ASMR reading streams. Hey Ace, welcome. Hey DB, can you do a horror story? I mean, I could try. Yeah, but it has to be like either a public domain story or I'll have permission from the author to read it. I don't want to know the grim story of Rapunzel. Yeah, don't. If you don't have the stomach for it, don't look it up. It gets pretty nasty. So luckily, the one that we have here is actually the censored version from the Grimm brothers in 1812. Hey Esther, welcome back. You will definitely enjoy the horror stories. Hell yeah. I mean, if y'all can find like a public domain horror story that I can read, let me know. It has to be public domain, remember. Is Stephen King public domain? Is Stephen King books public domain? Not yet. Stephen King publishes books in 1970s. So we'll carry on 95 years. So in 2069, it will become public domain. Unfortunately, we can't reach Stephen King. Hello, Leah. Welcome. Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe is public domain. But I don't think Edgar Allan Poe is horror story, is it? The only horror story that I know that's public domain is probably Bram Stoker's Dracula. And there's also Frankenstein, right? But those are classics. And I'm not sure if like they're really like scary. I'm not really sure actually. I mean, I could write a short horror story, though I'm a bit backed up at the moment. Dude, Ace, like, if you have anything you want me to read, send it to me, and I will probably read it in my ASMR live stream. I love your writing, man. I would definitely read them up. This is an invitation to all you dreamers who are writers out there. If you have a story you want me to read, whether it's horror, any kind of genre, really, right? But keep it as safe for work as possible. For horror, I feel like a bit of like horrific depictions is fine, you know. But yeah, if you do have a story, whatever it is, as long as it's like not anything lewd or anything, then I would happily read it in this live stream. I plan to have this reading live stream once a week because I generally have fun just reading. Sleepy Hollow. Wait, is that public domain? Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow. Sketchbook of unfortunately, it's not in the list. Wait, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Oh. What's the project in there? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, bye. Oh, it's just an audiobook. Oh, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Here it is. Okay. Oh. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Let me read the synopsis of Sleepy Hollow. Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Synopsis. Okay. Based on folklore, the story revolves around a school teacher, Ishabod Crane, who competes against Brum Bones, a local prankster farmer, for the hand of Katrina Van Tassel. One night after a party, Crane heads home only to be followed by what he thinks is the legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Headless Horseman. Oh, so it's the Headless Horseman. All right. Wait, have you all actually read the Sleepy Hollow? Ah. Well, maybe we can check out a little bit. Because it looks pretty interesting. It's a nice change of pace, I think. Let me just copy that. And, right. There we go. The Legend of the Sleepy Hollow. There we go. Yeah, let's have a nice little change of pace. I will probably not read the whole thing because it's pretty long. I'll read like a few paragraphs and like see if it's like interesting. Oh, you're a huge fan of urban legends. I see. Alright, dreamers. This is a test to see how my voice fares in a more horror-centric kind of story. But this is like a slow burn, so it wouldn't be horrific from the get-go. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, found among the papers of the late Diedrich Knickerbocker. A pleasing land of drowsy head it was, of dreams that wave before the half-shut eye, and of gay castles in the clouds that pass, forever flushing round a summer sky, castle of indolence. In the bosom of one of those spacious coves, which indent the eastern shore of the Hudson, at that broad expansion of the river denominated by the ancient Dutch navigators the Tappan Zee, and where they always prudently shortened sail and implored the protection of St. Nicholas when they crossed. There lies a small market town or rural port, which by some is called Greensburg, but which is more generally and properly known by the name of Tarrytown. This name was given, we are told, in former days by the good housewives of the adjacent country, from the inveterate propensity of their husbands to linger about the village tavern on market days. Be that as it may, I do not vouch for the fact, but merely advert to it, for the sake of being precise and authentic. Not far from this village, perhaps about 2 miles, there is a little valley, or rather lap of land, among high hills, which is one of the quietest places in the whole world. A small brook glides through it, with just murmur enough to lull one to repose, and the occasional whistle of a quail or tapping of a woodpecker is almost the only sound that ever breaks in upon the uniform tranquillity. I recollect that, when a stripling, my first exploit in squirrel shooting was in a grove of tall walnut trees that shades one side of the valley. I had wandered into it at noontime, when all nature is peculiarly quiet, and was startled by the roar of my own gun as it broke the Sabbath stillness around, and was prolonged and reverberated by the angry echoes. If ever I should wish for a retreat whither I might steal from the world and its distractions, and dream quietly away the remnant of a troubled life, I know of none more promising than this little valley. From the listless repose of the place and the peculiar character of its inhabitants, who are descendants from the original Dutch settlers, this sequestered glen has long been known by the name of Sleepy Hollow, and its rustic lads are called the Sleepy Hollow Boys throughout all the neighboring country. A drowsy, dreamy influence seems to hang over the land, and to pervade the very atmosphere. Some say that the place was bewitched by a high German doctor during the early days of the settlement. Others that an old Indian chief, the prophet or wizard of his tribe, held his powwows there before the country was discovered by Master Hendrik Hudson. Certain it is, the place still continues under the sway of some witching power that holds a spell over the minds of the good people, causing them to walk in a continual reverie. They are given to all kinds of marvelous beliefs, are subject to trances and visions, and frequently see strange sights, and hear music and voices in the air. The whole neighborhood abounds with local tales, haunted spots, and twilight superstitions. Stars shoot and meteors glare oftener across the valley than in any other part of the country, and the nightmare with her whole ninefold seems to make it the favorite scene of her gambols. The dominant spirit, however, that haunts this enchanted region, and seems to be commander-in-chief of all the powers of the air, is the apparition of a figure on horseback, without a head. It is said by some to be the ghost of a Hessian trooper, whose head had been carried away by a cannonball in some nameless battle during the Revolutionary War, and who is ever and anon seen by the country folk hurrying along in the gloom of night, as if one of the wings of the wind. His haunts are not confined to the valley, but extended at times to the adjacent roads, and especially to the vicinity of a church at no great distance. Indeed, certain of the most certain of the most authentic historians of those parts, who have been careful in collecting and collating the floating facts concerning the spectre, allege that the body of the trooper having been buried in the churchyard, the ghost rides forth to the scene of battle in nightly quest of his head, and that the rushing speed with which he sometimes passes along the hollow, like a midnight blast, is owing to his being belated, and in a hurry to get back to the churchyard before daybreak. Such is the general purport of this legendary superstition, which has furnished materials for many a wild story in that region of shadows. And the spectre is known at all the country firesides by the name of the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow. It is remarkable that the visionary propensity I have mentioned is not confined to the native inhabitants of the valley, but is unconsciously imbibed by every one who resides there for a time. However wide awake they may have been before they entered that sleepy region, they are sure in a little time to inhale the witching influence of the air, and begin to grow imaginative, to dream dreams and see apparitions. I mention this peaceful spot with all possible laud, for it is in such little retired Dutch valleys, found here and there embosomed in the great state of New York, that population, manners, and customs remain fixed, while the great torrent of migration and improvement, which is making such incessant change in other parts of the restless country, sweeps by them unobserved. They are like those little nooks of still water which border a rapid stream, which we may see the straw and bubble riding quietly at anchor, or slowly revolving in their mimic harbor, undisturbed by the rush of the passing current. Though many years have elapsed since I trod the drowsy shades of Sleepy Hollow, yet I question whether I should not still find the same trees and the same families vegetating in its sheltered bosom. In this byplace of nature there abode, in a remote period of American history, that is to say, some 30 years since, a worthy wight of the name Ichabod Crane, who sojourned, or, as he expressed it, tarried, in Sleepy Hollow, for the purpose of instructing the children of the vicinity. He was a native of Connecticut, a state which supplies the Union with pioneers for the mine as well as for the forest, and sends forth yearly its legions of frontier woodmen and country schoolmasters. The cognomen of Crane was not inapplicable to his person. He was tall, but exceedingly lank, with narrow shoulders, long arms and legs, hands that dangled a mile out of his sleeves, feet that might have served for shovels, and his whole frame most loosely hung together. His head was small and flat at top, with huge ears, large green glassy eyes, and a long sniped nose, so that it looked like a weathercock perched upon his spindle neck to tell which way the wind blew. To see him striding along the profile of a hill on a windy day, with his clothes bagging and fluttering about him, one might have mistaken him for the genius of famine descending upon the earth, or some scarecrow eloped from a cornfield. Honestly, I'm really liking the way this person writes his stories. It's like very descriptive, very poetic. I really like it. I really like it. God damn. Yeah. I don't think I can read the whole thing though. There's no chapters, guys. There's absolutely no chapters. It's just the whole thing, start from finish. Yeah, there ain't no chapters. It's just the whole thing. But it's not too long. I think I could like finish reading this in like 1.5 hours maybe. I say that, but 1.5 hours is still very long. But yeah, if y'all like this Sleepy Hollow reading, then let me know in the comments, and maybe we can read this the next live stream. We can continue from it, or we can start from the top. I don't mind either way. Oh, the hard copy actually has chapters? Ooh, alright, okay. Right. Let's take a little break, and ooh, it's very close to 11 p.m. and I think Evie is going to stream soon. Indeed, next week. Huh. Yeah? I think that could be a good way to end the stream. What do you dreamers think? Okay, I actually only planned to read for 2 hours, but we ended up reading for a whole 3 hours. Damn. I honestly didn't think I would enjoy reading this much that just I went overboard with an hour. Drink a little dippy. Alright. Your character's winking a lot. Yeah. Wink. It's because I'm having glasses, and sometimes I'm wearing glasses, and sometimes the camera is assuming that I'm winking, even though I'm just like moving with my glasses. Yeah, everyone, please hydrate. Ooh, actually, I'm gonna ask if she's gonna stream, because she was asleep when I last checked her. Oh, BRB. I'll be right back. Hold on. Oh, Evie is up. She's setting up the live stream. Yay! Okay, right. I think this is a good time for me to end the stream. I've been reading non-stop for 3 hours. Well, with a few breaks in between. Well, Bessie still thinking she can nap and woke up on time, never learning from his mistakes. A lol. Right. So, Evie is going to go live soon, which is a time for me to end the stream, right? I will hang out in Evie's live stream. If you want to hang out with me as well in her live stream, go to Evie's live stream. I will put it in the chat. Hold on. Yeah, but it might take a while before it starts, because she's still setting up the stream right now. There you go. Right. Oh, Taddy has it. Never mind. Good old Taddy. I'll pin the one by Taddy. God damn. Oh god, this is so annoying. This heart thing. This heart thing doesn't allow me to. Sorry, Taddy. I'll just pin mine. There you go. Yeah. Right. So Evie's. I believe she's playing Persona. Right. If you like hanging out and like watching people play games, do do check her stream out. I'll probably hang out in the live chat there too. I need to run errands and get my day started, so we'll have to miss out on the next one. But I enjoyed this one, thank you. Oh, I'm glad you do enjoy it, Bella. Thank you, Taddy. Your service is impeccable. Thank you so much. Right. I think we can wait until Evie is live. Like in the waiting screen at least. Yeah, in the meantime, I think we can just spend the rest of the stream just chatting. Let's get this browser out of the way. There we go. Look at those beautiful hands. Thank you so much, Faye. They are absolutely beautiful. Right, we're just gonna chat here, dreamers. I'm currently working on chapter 6 of my story. Right. I hope I can share my story to you when it's complete. Ooh, can't wait to see it, Midnight. I mean, if you have like if I have your permission, I would love to read it on stream as well. Given if it's like, safe for work. Face art's always looking good. I know, right? I know, right, Daddy? Oh, you know what? Let me put my Streamlabs up here. God damn. Oh, why? There you go. Gatekeep, girl boss. I want to gatekeep your channel so bad. What? Why? Do 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 boo do boo 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 boo. Let me put the camera 18 CB closer. There you go. Thank you, DB. You're welcome, Paula. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you all you dreamers enjoyed the reading. I hope I didn't stutter too much. La 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 la. Where do you post when your next live chat will be? I think since I've decided this is gonna be a regular stream, I will probably post it in my community page when my live streams will be. And I'll also put it on my Twitter as well. I just need to make a format. Oh, it was super good. You had a good time. Aw. I'm glad you did, Taddy. Really glad you did. Aw. Just for my feminine urge, little secret to gatekeep. I see, I see. Oh, Evie started. Nice, nice. Okay. Since my beloved Evie is started her stream, yes, all of you, if you still want to hang out and, you know, watch Evie play games as well, please click on the link there in the pinned message. I'll hang out in Evie's stream as well. Hold on. Gotta look. Twitch.tv/EVAltarian. Nice. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, she's gonna be playing Persona 5. It's a very fun game. If you haven't tried Persona 5, I do recommend playing Persona 5. It's very beginner friendly, and it's very well animated. Yeah. Thank you, Dreamers, for joining the stream. I will promise to make this a regular thing, and I'll update it in my community post and my Twitter when I'll go live. Yeah. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, I hope you're all enjoying yourself. And never be afraid to chase your dreams. Okay, that's it. But yeah, see you all in the next stream. Bye-bye. Bye, dreamers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, 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 bye. Bye-bye. Johnny. Bye Ace, bye Teddy, bye Deco, bye Chelsea, bye Midnight, bye Dua. Love your voice, I think you do. Bye bye everybody, bye bye, bye bye. Boo.